Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I've got a video for you about the top 10 things that I don't want to see returning to Modern Warfare 2 from Modern Warfare 2019 and or Warzone. This was inspired by a tweet that I threw out a few days ago that got a ton of responses and interactions from members of the community, and they had some opinions about the things they don't want to see that were very different than mine, and it was enlightening. So I decided to make a whole YouTube video about it, and if you're interested, you could follow me on Twitter to participate in some of these discussions yourself. So the number one thing that I don't want to see in Modern Warfare 2 is NFTs. We've already done a couple of videos about this recently, and I've ultimately kind of had to pick sides, and I think I've picked the anti-NFT side. And I know that right off the rip, there's all these bros in the comments talking about crypto and trading and a digital identity and decentralization, and I'm just a boomer and I don't understand. No, I get it. I just can't support NFTs because it's like 95% scams right now, a lot of stolen art too, and there's pretty much no green energy solutions for NFTs that I've seen that make any sense to me, and I don't want to play a game that has that going on. On top of this, it probably wouldn't even be the NFTs like you see on Twitter or like these little public bios. It would probably be an internal Activision NFT system like Ubisoft Quartz, so they would still kind of own and control everything, but it would just run on crypto and use God only knows how much processing power. The neat thing about NFTs is I guess you could gift skins more easily, but you can kind of already do that, and I think I'm going to go crazy if there's a whole bunch of bored apes and fat cats running around the map that I have to kill. The only way that I think Call of Duty could support NFTs is if they could build the engine to somehow sort of take a generic open source NFT kind of token where you can just link them your NFT, verify the wallet, it'll pull the image from online and put it on what you need it to, so that way they don't have to support it and kind of waste too much electricity. But not a big fan of NFTs, don't want to see them in Call of Duty. My number two is what I'm going to call mysterious skill-based matchmaking. That's been a controversial topic for almost a decade now, but we do know that it's real, it's in the game, I've tested it, Ace has, J-God has, Sour has, all tons of people have. The problem is we don't really know very much about how it works, we don't know about why it works, we don't know even what you're being judged on. Is it wins-loss, kill-death ratio? What are these performance factors? And there's all these kind of things that are happening in the game that determine your lobbies and how much fun you're gonna have. And it feels really odd. It's kind of like playing ranked, but you don't get to see your rank. Is kind of how it feels. If I go really hard in pubs, my lobbies do get more difficult, and I would like for that to make some kind of sense. I think honestly just adding a ranking or elo system or some kind of transparency on skill-based matchmaking is going to make it better. I don't think you can completely remove it. We have to protect the protected bracket of new players, people with handicaps, people that don't have 70 hours to grind every single week to unlock guns, which we'll talk about in a moment. But we need to be able to understand what's going on. Speaking of understanding what's going on, let's move on to number three, and that is consoles being limited to 80 field of view and 60 FPS. That is dinosaur stuff. You won't be able to tell what's going on when you're playing Rebirth with literal horse blinders looking around, and you can't even, you have to do a 360 to even see around the corner. So depending on which console you're on, and there's a wide gap now because we have 3 or 4 past generation consoles and we have the next generation consoles and then PC and controller, but a lot of the consoles can be locked at 80 FOV and sometimes it can be locked at 60 FPS, which has been the standard for Call of Duty and I think is very playable and okay. But modern consoles, the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, can all output at 120 FPS, and a lot of new TVs and monitors support that. And I gotta say, it's fantastic. The game is way better at 120 FPS compared to 60, and it's way better at 100 field of view compared to 80 field of view. And it's just really rough that my console, where all my ex-bros and all my Sony ponies, they don't get to experience all of these things like I do on PC. And we're gonna talk about PC optimization in a bit too, but it feels genuinely unfair. If we do all this stuff with crossplay and we tweak the auto aim and we tweak this and tweak that, it's still really unfair that consoles are that limited, especially when the consoles themselves support these features. Number four is I want them to fix the busted friends list. So ever since we got the Activision ID system and crossplay, my friends list has been fundamentally broken. Literally last night, I spent 30 minutes trying to send one friend request and get one person to join my game. People don't exist. I have to like log into Battle.net and send them a PM. And after I've sent them a PM, Battle.net knows that they exist and then they pop up on my list in game. I've had to turn on my old Xbox like from eons ago and change my online status to online because I once put it to offline for recording, and then It just locked me at offline on Activision. It's such a mess. There's so many times I can't join friends' lobbies. There's all these stupid NAT errors still, which is something from the 90s. And most people don't even understand what the Activision ID is. It's not even easy to find your Activision ID. Most of the time the game will prompt you to send a console-specific friend request, and I get that Activision has their own technology and they have to play nice with Sony and Microsoft, but it sucks. Whatever they've done genuinely sucks. Fortnite, Apex, all these other games work flawlessly with no problems, but Call of Duty is still a nightmare to invite people, and that really might even be the biggest one for me. I just don't want to play a game that I literally can't play with my friends that I have to spend an hour of tech support doing. Number 5 is I don't want guns with 70 levels. Yes, it's cool that your guns have a lot of attachments. It's actually kind of cool that some of the attachments are bad or have negative effects. You know, it's nice, lots of combos, a lot of variety. But 70 levels per gun is insane. Absolutely insane. You may remember the video I did a while back about me paying J-Hub just to grind and level my guns because my hands weren't... Like, if you have a physical handicap, including a job or children or class to go to, you literally can't do this. Like, there's not enough time. You have to work this game like a job to level up 70 guns, and it took months without the double XP and stuff, and that was brutal. And I don't want level 70 guns. I want guns that I can unlock and level up in a very reasonable amount of time. Please, dear God, I don't like... My full-time job is playing Call of Duty almost in a sense, but I don't want my full-time job to be grinding Call of Duty just to get attachments. Number 6, and this applies for both Warzone and whatever Modern Warfare 2019 has, idea from Ace, by the way, is I would like a footstep system that is balanced and balanced. And no, that's not a redundancy. I would like a footstep system that is balanced with counterplay, because right now, as Ace says, quite correctly from the Twitter thread, there are very loud footsteps and no perk to counter it. Yes, you can have a pickup and a specialist ability and whatever, and that's nice, but there's no dead silence, there's no ninja, there's no none of that. There's not even anything that makes the footsteps like more quiet, like less loud, or reduces the distance or anything. You just hear people stamping all over the place, constantly running around, so sound and audio is on an entirely different level. And that needs to be balanced. There has to be counterplay to the footsteps, because that just encourages camping. But if you make them too quiet, it discourages like using the audio. And another thing about balance, and I've always had this problem with Infinity Ward games, is they balance their audio realistically, and it's great in that sense. And that these headsets, which are Astro A10s, by the way, you can pick them up with the link down there in the description, that the gunshots sound realistically loud compared to the footsteps. And when people are shooting guns, it's really hard to hear footsteps unless you turn your headset up to like maximum level, and then you can hear all the footsteps and the gunshots, but the gunshots are like bombs. Like, my ears like ring. Like, when I'm playing Warzone and somebody cracks my armor, it's so loud, you'll see me on stream physically wince and jump from that. And there's no reason that I should literally actually have to blow out my eardrums in order to hear footsteps. And it's not just me. Everybody I talk to has their headsets stupid loud. I've gone to visit, you know, friends that are streamers, and I can hear their headsets in the other room because it has to be that loud, and that doesn't make any sense. Number 7 on the list today is I do not want the Modern Warfare 2019, Black Ops Cold War, or Vanguard spawn systems to return. You need to chunk them, start over from scratch. Modern Warfare 2019 had god-awful terrible spawns. Black Ops Cold War had god-awful terrible spawns, and Vanguard had even worse spawns that would spawn people directly into bullets. If you're going to make a multiplayer game, one of the basic fundamental elements of it is that a player should be able to spawn and be safe for at least like 3 seconds or something, instead of just popping up and getting picked all over the place. Call of Duty's had this game for almost, Call of Duty's had this problem for almost 2 decades now, and it needs to be fixed. I think they're just building and building and building on top of an older system. I think it's time to just scrap it and build an entirely new system. Number 8 today is that I would like to see these low tick rate servers go the way of the dinosaur. Servers in multiplayer are okay, but Battle Royale, you know, Warzone, Caldera, and Rebirth, the connections are all over the place. And the way Call of Duty handles connections and lag and latency is and always has been all over the place. And I'm hoping to God that maybe this year somebody will invent a better system. And I think that just having higher tick rate servers that they have to pay more for would be better. It would yield a much better customer experience than what I experience in Warzone all the time. Is I'll lock onto a guy, shoot him like 4 or 5 times, and then I'm instantly dead. All my plates crack and I explode and I get hit by super bullets. And that's just not fun at all. Even if that guy outplayed me, it's not transmitting that data, so I don't really know, and I just feel cheated. Number 9 on our list today, I do not want to see doors or any janky destructible environments. Doors I could tolerate in Modern Warfare 2019. I know the community hated them, so I'm going to go side with the community on this one and say we probably don't need doors. It'll be fine without them. Battle Royale is a little different. People cheese the doors. But then Vanguard had to take it to a whole new level and put in this weird destructible environment thing with a whole bunch of wood everywhere and glass and things that blow up and just like, oh, you're going to make your own peak spot, I guess. I don't know, but I didn't really enjoy it. I don't think anybody really enjoyed the destructible environments that are in Vanguard. If you did, by all means, let me know. I mean, the cosmetic ones are really fun, like where you shoot the books and they blow up and bounce around and the chairs fall over, sure. But I mean the ones where they're like, yeah, we need players to like come melee this wall to get a sniper angle. Terrible. Don't want that at all. Static environment will be fine. I have 2 more. One is PC specific and one is Warzone specific instead of Modern Warfare 2. So PC specific number 10 is what it's going to be on our list today is, please no more installing shaders. Why is this the only game that I have to install shaders? No other game that I play I have to install shaders, or in such a time that it's not just seconds. This game I can spend 15 minutes waiting for the shaders. And oh wait, if you don't compile the shaders for the single player and the campaign, then the audio and the multiplayer won't work right. Oh, you just did an update? You ready to play? Nope, screw you. Spend 30 minutes installing shaders. Why do we have to do this? This is so like dinosauric and old school. No other game I play does this. I don't want this on PC. And then number 11 today. This one is not about Modern Warfare 2, but is instead about Warzone 2. Warzone 2 has to be permanent. So Warzone was promised to us as a forever Call of Duty game, and all of our stuff and our gear and our unlocks and weapons and all that would be permanent. Now, when Infinity Ward and Raven released this, they kind of only expected it to support one game. So importing stuff from Cold War and Vanguard has been very tricky. It's overloaded the balance. There's tons of items and skins and combinations of wildly inconsistent quality, and it hasn't been consistent. It hasn't been excellent this whole time. It's janky in some ways. However, it is still retaining all of my purchases from years ago, which I enjoy. I can still use my old guns. I can still use Catgirl Mara or Snoop Dogg if I want to. But when Warzone 2 comes out, that's going to wipe the slate clean, because supposedly it's going to be a totally different game. So all these skins and all these things that I bought and collected and battle passed up, doing Battle Royale free to play over the last couple of years, are suddenly going to disappear, and I'm going to have to start again. And it's one of those things that's like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I'm already at the fool me once. If Warzone 2 comes out and wipes this, I've been fooled once. I don't know if I'll even spend money on Warzone 2 since it's not going to be very permanent. But I feel like that's something that they need to address with the community, is why that this changed, like why they can't carry their skins forward. Warzone 2 really, really has to be permanent and long lasting, or there will be no trust. And it's definitely a Hail Mary long shot, but it would be fantastic if by some miracle, whatever engine Warzone 2 is going to be running on, that they could port all the stuff that people bought and unlocked from Warzone 1 over to that engine. Even if it was a slow change, even if they ported one game per season, people would still eventually get all their stuff, and that would be fantastic. So that's all for this video. It's a little bit negative. It's all the things that I don't want to see coming back in Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2 respectively. I might do a top 10 of things that I do want to see. Do you guys want to see an actual wish list instead of a complaint list? Because if you do, let me know down there below in the comments, and I'll get to it in a few days. If you enjoyed, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.